Cheers.
Cheers.
Do you have a camera?
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Richard, thanks for having me on.
Oh, honestly, it's my pleasure.
Welcome into another edition of Road Trippin'. I'm your host, Allie Clifton. He is Richard Jefferson.
Yes,
and
yes,
joining
I am.
us is, I mean, you got a lot of titles. You're a three-time champ. You're a Lakers head coach. But probably the best one is that Richard's your best friend.
Yeah.
Did you like that?
I did. It was very nice. And
He's like he was.
You're not Richard's best friend. He's your best friend.
he is my best friend.
Proud
I've guided
of
him in our friendship for about 20 years now. So
Yeah, yeah. And like as a true friend, he's never been on road tripping before. So I guilted it.
Why is that?
Because he's
all right.
now, mind you, everyone that's listening to this like knows me and Channing very well. So they understand why you might be a little apprehensive about associating with us.
But there are also people like us that don't know the relationship of all three of you, and I actually have been wondering why, as best friends, you haven't.
It's like our friendship, we're like brothers, right? So it would be like if someone came to you and said, hey, we want to do a show on your family and tell us everything about your family. Like, I don't want that. Like, we're very close and we've been through a lot together.
So you're saying Richard knows too much about you?
Well, no, but not just Richard. My actual brothers do too. I wouldn't want them, putting my business out there, and I wouldn't want to put their business out there. So this
is him prefacing.
So should we just end this right now?
No, this is him prefacing.
Well,
like,
I'm telling you why I wouldn't come on I didn't come on the show. I supported the show. I listened to the show.
You were actually kind of critical. You were kind of critical of it for a while.
Oh, you didn't like it?
No.
No, not that
I mean, your dad was like our third guest.
I know, and he was awesome.
He was awesome. He was awesome. No one else talked.
Yeah.
No one else talked.
But that's why I didn't come on it. And then I'll let you tell the story of how I'm sitting here, which is it's still not funny, but
it's funny because that's the thing. Like, thank you, brother. So. I guess we can get into this because this will be the first time that I've talked about so when Big Rich passed, obviously the tragic events, we were actually here at this studio. So no one knew. I found out that night, right? So my uncle had texted me and there was some confusion. So I find out about it. And so I had a meeting here and I was just like, for everyone listening, I'm in LA at the Spectrum Studios. So I was like, okay, just get through this meeting, Rich, and then you have nothing to do for 5 days. There's no expectations, no nothing. You could just kind of go in your own world. So I go to this meeting and I see Geeter. And so all of a sudden, all of our friends start texting yo, TMZ just reported this about Big Rich, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, does Richard know? He's here at this meeting? And so I'm sitting in there talking to Jared and as soon as my phone starts going crazy and I was like, oh, well, everyone knows. And Jared's like, well, what happened? I was like, oh, my father died last night. And so the look on his face was just okay, should you be here? I was like, no. I just wanted to kind of get this done and then I can go do the things I had to do. So all of my friends, good friends, wouldn't leave me alone. They wouldn't leave me alone at all. And so me and Jared had talked about, this opportunity, this show and bringing Road Tripping live. And so Luke is sitting on my couch with 3 or 4 of my other buddies. And he's like, Rich, man, whatever you need, man, we're here for you, we'll support you.
That day?
No, it was over the next week. They were there pretty much every day in my basement. And so Luke was like, dude, man, look, man, I love Big Rich. That's my guy. I can't believe this. Man, anything you need. And I was like, hey, you want to do the pilot episode for Road Tripping?
Stop it. What is wrong with you? Oh my God.
Well, that was the thing.
R.I.P. Big Rich.
Yeah, R.I.P. Big Rich. But it was just it's funny because he says it was kind of dirty how you set me up. Because I'd never asked him to do it before.
No.
And so,
you've never asked him to even come on?
No.
I was very clear to him that he didn't need to ask me. I wasn't coming on the show. And he's always been a bit of an evil genius, Richard has. So
really?
When he hit me with, it was Rich, again, it's a very serious, thing him and his family are going through. But it was I'd call him after practice, are you home? He'd be like, yes, but you don't need to. I was like, bye. And I'd hang up and I'd just drive to his house. Yeah. And we'd hang out.
Aww.
And he was like, I'm good. And then I asked him one time right before I was leaving, I said, seriously, anything, let me know. He said, I want you to come on road trip. And our other friends that were at the house had all known that I wasn't going to go on either. So everyone kind of just paused, and then we had a really good laugh over it. And I said,
he's like,
all
yeah,
right, I guess I'll be. Like, you don't say no to that at that moment.
So
here we are.
Where did this friendship start? At Bill's house?
No, it started. No? It started in like actually we were in high school, so we both randomly went on a visit. Arizona just won the national championship, so we both went on a visit, and so we meet on the visit, and you know I knew we were both like the top small forwards like on the West Coast. It was like me, him, Tayshaun Prince, and so I just heard of this kid Luke Walton. Quick story. One time I had played against his younger brother, and so like I played against his younger brother in a tournament, and I heard like, hey, one of the Walton boys is on that other team. So I went out there and like destroyed him. Like I was like super focused, and then I found out it was a younger Walton. So it was like, it was toughy. So it really didn't do much for me. And so then I went to Arizona. We both went on our visits there. What do you guys say? Tuffy was like 2 years younger.
It
so
was
it wasn't
like in the movie Troy, when he thinks he kills Troy, but he really like killed the cousin of Troy.
It was kind of anticlimactic. I was like, Tuffy probably had no idea why I was so amped up for the game, right? And they were all like sophomores, and I was entering my senior year. But either way, Luke Olson called me and was like, hey, there's a kid, Luke Walton, that's like, he just is such a big fan of you. He wants to kind of come on the visit with you. And I was like, oh, that's fine. And so, and then we're on the visit.
Oh, go ahead.
Then we're on the visit, and the whole time he was just like, kind of following me around a little bit, and we were hanging out.
Luke was following you around?
Yeah, he was following me around a little bit, and then we were just hanging out, and he was like, Richard, man, like, would you mind if I like came to Arizona too? Like, I think, man, it'd be really fun if I came to Arizona, and so. I was like, yeah, I was like, okay. And so like when I was leaving Arizona, like I had like finished my visit and I was telling Luke Olson, I was like, hey, my first visit, like you're not supposed to do. I was like, Luke Olson, he was telling me, he's like, hey, what are your thoughts? I was like, no, I really like it. He's like, okay, so, the kid that was here, Luke Walton, like he wants to come here too, but, he only wants to come here if you're coming here. And so I pretty much was like,
true?
No, it's not. It's his show, so I'm gonna let him keep going.
No, that's why we bring you in, because Richard's on every other show, and he tells these stories.
Wait, can I finish the story?
Yeah, it's your story. Go ahead. It's your story.
So
it's your story. It's your show. I'm here to make you look good. Whatever.
He goes. Luke Olson was like, so this kid. So he was like, Luke Walton was like, he really wants to come to Arizona. Like, if you're going to come here, and he's like, do you mind? And I was like, at first I was a little like, kind of like, I don't know, coach. He was like following me around the whole weekend. I was like,
what do you, like a little brother? Like,
yeah, he was like following me around the whole time.
And it wasn't cool to you?
No, it was cool. Like, he's a nice kid. Like,
You're not, why are you buying into this? I'll just let him talk, and then I'll tell you the truth of what happened. And
so the whole time, like, Luke Olson was like, Richard, like, we would love to have you, right? But also the kid Luke Walton. I was like, and coach is like sitting here like convincing me that he's a pretty good player. And I was like, coach, I don't know. Kind of doing my own thing here. And he was just like, well, the kid really wants to come, but if you're gonna come, like, just let me know what's real. And I was like, coach, fine, he can come to Arizona and I'll commit too. Like, that was kind of like the story. And then like he called me, Luke Olson called me like a few weeks like, hey, Luke Walton asked for your number. He really wants to be your roommate in college.
All right, so listen, listen. Here's how it went down. We were both top recruits. No, and we can move forward, right? We can move forward after. We were both top recruits. We came out on the same weekend.
Okay.
He said, I got 2 open spots. So we went out. Miles Simons took us out. Mike Bibby took us out.
One of your assistant coaches.
One of my assistant coaches, Mike Bibby, obviously played in the league forever. Those were our 2 hosts.
Okay.
We had a good time.
Okay.
So we were 18-year-olds going to see Arizona. We were hanging out that night, and we were both like, look, I'm in if you're in. So he said, so.
We have very different recollections of this story.
Yeah, I have the truth, and you have your version. So he said, all right, let's see. Like, I'm in. Let's do it. Deal. So the next morning, I'm a little hungover.
You were hungover?
A little bit, yeah.
I didn't think I drank at the time.
You did not.
At that time.
You did not. I did. Coach Olson took me to the airport, dropped me off first, and said, look, we have 2 scholarships we want. Whoever takes them first. I said, Coach, I'm in, right? And he said, well, welcome aboard. We'd love to have you here.
So you signed for, or you committed first?
Verbally.
Yeah.
And then he took Richard, and went, because Richard was from Phoenix, that he was just driving back later. So he met them later, and he said, well, we got a commitment from Luke already. And he said, well.
So you were the follower.
He didn't follow, but I just met with Coach first. But this is where, but we weren't even friends yet. Like this was just like we were gonna be teammates. This is where I knew we were gonna become friends. So I got his number. I said, listen, we're rooming together. I said, what do you have? And he said something along the lines of like, what was the game console back then? PlayStation. I have a PlayStation and a VCR. I said, perfect. I have a TV and a stereo. I'll see you in 3 months. And he was like, cool. And we hung up the phone, and then we didn't talk to each other. So, like that was when I was kind of like, all right, this is my kind of guy. Like he's got what he's got. I got what I got. We'll see each other when we see each other, and then that's kind of how it started.
Again,
that's actually a pretty cool story. Like I don't know why you needed your.
No. Okay, again, he's giving a very different version of the story that I remember. Right, I just remember like this like private school kid from Hillcrest, California, like following me around. That's all I remember, right? Like again, like he said he was a little hungover, so maybe his recollections of the event.
Maybe you're a little.
I'm getting there, right?
This is why I didn't want to come on the show.
Up next on Road Trippin'.
If we got caught doing something, there was still consequences.
Oh, yeah, he kicked us out of his house multiple times.
Yeah, we've been booted.
Really?
And said not to come back for
multiple
weeks.
times.
We started obviously building bond and friendship, and then in the summertime we'd go stay at my dad's house.
So tell us about that, because that was the first story he told. What?
You want to know about our college summers?
No, I think what was it like growing up in
at Bill's house?
Yeah.
It was awesome.
He made it sound like you had zero supervision in your life.
No,
that you could just like it was like where everyone wanted to be.
There was we had a.
Look at him trying to process.
No, we had supervision. It just wasn't there all the time. So like,
limited.
Like my dad obviously worked a lot.
Right.
My mother is a saint. She teaches parenting classes.
Yeah.
So she, she lived in a different part of San Diego, but we were back and forth to both of their houses. But when we got into high school, if we found out my dad was going on a road trip, we'd make sure to stay at his house for a couple days. And if we got caught doing something, there was still consequences.
Oh, yeah, he kicked us out of his house multiple times.
Yeah, we've been booted
and
said not to come back for
multiple
weeks.
times. Like he
Bill?
yelled. Bill yelled. Bill. So, like Bill again he's a saint in another way. Like he's a saint because he cares and he was very good at shaping young men. Right, as far as like he would like I remember the very first time like I went and stayed. Luke got me suspended, but like,
wait,
no,
what?
I kid you not. So this is what happened. So back then, Bill was like, "Hey, Richard, we'd love to have you out," but it was cool because his younger brother played at San Diego State. His older brother Nate played at Princeton, and then Adam he went to LSU, but went to Notre Dame, like a smaller school. So you have like 4 Division I basketball players like all living under the roof. So he was like, Richard, if you would like to come out, we would love for you to stay with us. So I was like, yeah, I get to get out of 112-degree weather in Phoenix and go to San Diego. So we would go out there and we would like play in his backyard. We would play pickup. Like we would just argue. We would just like hang out. And so the very first time Bill goes, Richard, I'm going to take you to the airport, right? So all of the guys are just like, oh, Bill's taking you to the airport. Bill's taking you to the airport. So like Bill takes me to the airport. It's just me and him, right? And I'm a little nervous, right? Like I know Bill, but I don't know him. And he starts giving me like this like dad speech, which is like, Richard, you and Luke are really close, and I've made a lot of mistakes in my professional career, and as you progress and become more and more of a man, I just want to make sure you understand, like, the worst thing that you can do for others are things they could and should do for themselves. Like, these are the speeches he's giving me, like, as he's dropping me off to the airport at like 18. Mind you, it probably didn't sink in until I was like 26, and I was like, oh, that's what the fuck he was talking about, right? I was like, I get it now. But he was like, Bill treated like all of us like sons, right?
Yeah.
And it was just funny because as we got older, he would then yell at me like I was his son. Like we would be like drinking or hanging out like afterwards. He'd be like, Richard, why don't you go to your parents' house and destroy their house? Like these are the type of things. He would yell at us all the time. But it was like coming from like a dad's.
Do you have a story like Channing told on our podcast of his like first Bill story?
No, because all of the stories with Bill are the exact same story. Like you'd see him coming out to the hot tub naked at like 8:30 in the morning, right? He would be there at like 6 or something like that. Or
he starts his at 6.
He starts his at 6.
Yeah, you'd come out, we'd get ready.
He starts his what?
Hot
His
tub
morning,
at 6.
his morning.
So like we'd come out getting ready for school, and he was already finishing his hot
Morning.
tub, but he'd be out there with the towel over his shoulders.
Naked hot tub.
Listen, Grateful Dead playing through rock speakers all throughout the backyard.
No, everyone's laughing, but it's not a joke. Like he legitimately.
And there was no like, oh, sorry, boy. If we walked up, he'd be like, hello.
Hello. It's just,
Luke's father, Bill.
Yeah, just Luke's father, Bill. And I'm like, how? And so like
naked.
very respectful. It's like, how are you doing, Mr. Walton? No, Richard. Call me Bill. Yeah. Call me Bill. And it's just like
while he was
naked, like wobbling around, on like 19 reconstructed knees. But he would like, it's just, and so like, even like after I got to the NBA, I would still go back there and like hang out with them during the summer and train. So like I would do stuff like, because I would be on East Coast time because I played with the Nets. So I'd wake up at like 6 a.m. and I would be in the hot tub and here comes Bill at like 6 a.m. How are you doing today, Richard? And it's just like, man, like, put your junk away, dude. It's like, it's just, no. But that's him, and he would yell, so boys, no shorts in the hot tub. It's like, there's the detergent from the soap, it just adds way too many bubbles. Adds way too many bubbles to the soap. And it did, but it still was like, it still was a little something that was a little strange. Yeah.
Wait, the detergent on the...
The detergent from the... He told us we weren't allowed to wear shorts swimming because they were
No, he's big, like, yeah, but that's like this, like, his dad is like a notorious hippie. Like, everyone knows that. Like, that's not, like Luke Olson used to make that terrible joke that Luke would, like, fail a drug test just off his DNA. Yeah. Right? Like, and he would say this, like, Luke Olson would say this joke to, like, thousands of, like, alumni and sponsors at, like, banquet dinners. He's like, so this is Luke Walton. We make sure he doesn't get drug tests because he would fail off his DNA. Right? Like, this is, and now Luke Olson's a 67-year-old man making this joke. It's like your granddad. But, you know, no, that was kind of like our summers was just kind of like hanging out, training, working out. And I think it kind of motivated us because we wanted to get to the NBA because if we could live a life like Bill, right? Yeah, like that was kind of like the goal.
He was a role model. So yeah, again, to answer your original question, we had parents and structure. It was just a lot of freedom, and it wasn't always there. The way he told the
story for an hour, which was amazing. Again, on our episode, it was just like that's where you want to find your way to a house like that.
Yeah, well, I love
it.
But it's different for everybody. Like my brothers didn't have the same experience as I did. Like when we talk about how awesome it was, some of them were like, "No, it sucked." There was people everywhere. There was no, you know. So
you sound so much like Tuffy.
I'm not gonna call out who's who in this in case they're listening. But like, yeah, for me, I loved it. That's how I like living. I still like living that way.
That's how you.
So like, if you, I mean, if you're in town, you know, come stay at the house, and like that's just the way I grew up, and I love living that way.
The funniest thing is like we'd be sitting in the hot tub at like 10 a.m., right? We'd be sitting there trying to figure out like what we were gonna do, and like 2 random guys would get in the hot tub, and then we'd be just kind of sitting there, and these guys would be kind of cracking jokes and blah blah blah, and they'd be vibing out or whatever. It's a big hot tub before people get any weird ideas, right? It's a really big hot tub. So all of a sudden these 2 guys would get out, but he was like, oh yeah, Luke, you remember back then, blah blah blah. And, hey, do you remember that party, your high school graduation party, blah blah blah. So I was like, wow, Luke, how long have you known those guys? And Luke would be like, I've never seen those 2 guys before in my entire life.
You just have random people show up?
Yeah, but so much that you just never questioned it.
No.
Like people would walk in and be like, hey, what's up? And then be like, I'd look at one of my brothers and be like, who is that? I'd be like, I don't know. You know what?
Oh my God.
So it was.
Well, the Grateful Dead used to do they would throw after parties at Bill's. Like they would like take off like the what did you say, like the tennis court, and they would like set up their instruments and then throw like jam sessions.
Okay, so sorry, I'm taking a sharp left here, kind of. Has it been hard making the transition from a lifestyle like that to now being in the position that you're in as a coach?
No, I think I think it's, for me personally, it's helped prepare me. I mean, like as a coach, there's there's so many things coming at me all day. Like I showed like late here today.
Like
I'm
you
dealing,
were very late. Thank you for that, by the way, for acknowledging.
You're welcome. But there's a million things every single day that need to be addressed and done, and you know, talk to this staff member about this staff member about this, and make your own decisions about what, you know, the team is doing that day, the next day. So I think in hindsight, like growing up like that has really helped me prep for the wild madness, chaos that is the life, the coaching life, with, you know, it's all the different angles that are coming at you every day. So I think it's been a good thing. At least that's how I look at it. But I try to turn, everything positive.
You try to rationalize it.
It's not, if people be like, what are the challenges this year? I don't have challenges.
You don't have challenges this year? You don't have. Up next on Road Trippin'.
Let's get these players bought into what we're doing, give them ownership of the team, and then we can coach the hell out of them, because there's that type of trust and bond.
We told you that we're not talking a lot of basketball, and we won't. This will be it, I promise. We'll get into your retirement and all that.
Not mine.
You retired?
Yeah, we're both retired.
I was getting ready to sign you.
We're both.
Is that why you're retired?
That's the only thing that prolonged that prolonged me announcing my retirement. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. You were going to sign me as a coach. No one cares.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you talk about that and how it prepared you. When you go back to your rookie year, and I know you've been asked this a little bit, the vets that you had, right? Most notably, Shaq, Kobe, Karl Malone, Gary Payton. What you experienced then, and then fast forward, you become, I guess, playing under a guy like Phil Jackson, but then you become an assistant under Steve Kerr. Phil, Steve, guys like that, along with what you already knew coming up. How or what did they teach you when it comes to managing, because you talk right now about opportunities, yet the challenges that we off on the outside would see. What do they teach you about managing?
Everything. And it's, I mean, going into that, my rookie year, I remember sitting there and like even the first road trip, like you get off the bus and they tell you, all right, we'll see you tomorrow. And all I knew was college and high school, obviously, at the time. And I was like, wait, what about team meal? Video session at night, and the vets are like, what the are you talking about? Like, go do it, go whatever you want. That's what I gave you per diem, go eat dinner. And like, so I remember sitting there my rookie year just being blown away by this is the NBA, and these are the guys I've looked up to and watched for years now as my teammates. But what I, you know, a common thread of what I learned from that year and what I've learned from, you know, coaching in Golden State with Steve and playing with Kobe for all those years is, you know, every other level is a dictatorship, at least in my experience. It's the head coach and he tells you what to do and you do it and you don't ask any questions. And I saw the power and the intelligence and the skill level of these elite players and what they were capable of and the way they saw the game, and how strong it could be when the player and the coach are working, players and coaches are working together in what they're trying to accomplish, as opposed to just what I'd known at the time, which was just do whatever the coach tells you and don't ask questions. So I think that has been a huge influence on who I am as a coach. And then when I got to Golden State, obviously, watching the way Steve put it in was, you know, was the same type of deal. Where it was, let's get these players bought into what we're doing, give them ownership of the team, and then we can coach the hell out of them, because there's that type of trust and bond relationship built, which I like. That's how I naturally felt anyways. So like to see it happen was a great experience for me. And it was when I took over.
I like those Lakers teams more than I liked your Golden State teams.
You beat one of those Golden State teams.
Yeah, but it was.
You did too.
I didn't score a point.
Yeah, but you're on the. See, that's part of the culture. You're part of the crew out there. You're doing the sideline.
She tries to act like that, but there was some.
I am very much like that.
She's like, really? We did it.
I didn't score a point.
She was at the parade.
So let's say.
No, I was. No.
We did it.
No.
So if there was like maybe like another like sideline person like talking.
Okay, stop it. Now you're just starting. No, just stop it. God, now I get it. Now you're just starting
stuff. Want to come on?
First of all, everybody, calm down.
Yeah, we're very calm on this couch over here.
Yeah. No,
I've never heard that though. I've never heard a coach say give ownership to the team. I've never,
Well, to me, I believe that if the players feel that ownership and take that ownership, they're a lot more invested in what needs to get done to win. And it's hard to win. It's really hard. You got to commit and sacrifice and fight through fatigue and injury and be away from your family. All these things that you have to give up to truly be a championship team.
Yeah.
I feel it's a lot easier to do when you're invested in it and you feel like this is my team as well. Like I'm not just a player on the team.
You have 3 rings. How many times do you make sure Richard remembers?
I don't, because I'm a good friend.
You don't?
I don't.
No.
You know what he loves to do? Like we're playing volleyball in the summer, and it'll be like 15-12. And
I heard he's better than you at volleyball.
That's also not true. But he'll be like 15-12, and they'll be like, someone will say something about a comeback, and he'll be like, oh, we got this. I've been down way worse than this. And like that's his go-to line. And again, I could at that point be like, well, I have 3 of these things, but I don't because I'm his friend. And I want
you just did it just
him
there.
to
Like you just did it.
I'm
in that
happy
moment.
for his success.
No.
Because he's smart.
No, but this is the thing. Like part of our friendship is we both wanted the other one to succeed, right? So it was like when I think you were still in college. Like he came out to New York and watched me in the finals. Like I was sitting there. I had lost his rookie year in the finals. Like I went and watched him play in the finals. So like we've always kind of supported each other. We didn't ever know that we were going to go head to head. And so I think I remember telling you this, Allie. I was like, you were like, so what do you think about this Warriors finals? And Bob, I was like, you know what my biggest issue is?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, the guy on the sideline over there, I was like, this shit's rainbows. Like Luke shows up. Luke shows up to Golden State. They win a championship. Next year, they break the Bulls record. And he wins 25 in a row. I'm like, that's my biggest worry is that guy's on the sideline. If there's any way this guy could get the flu. And then I remember after like you told somebody was like, did you go say what's up to Richard? He's like, I wasn't, but then I saw him crying over there. But afterwards, but the cool thing was, and like there's a competitiveness, because like I think at that point in time, like he was a coach. So I think for him, his full-on competitiveness was like, no, I don't care. Like it doesn't matter. Friendship is like, I want to win. I don't care about my friends. But if there is one consolation, it's like if my best friend can get a ring playing basketball, right, that I already have 2, dick. And so it was like, he was like, yo, then cool. Like, good 3.
Yeah,
no, I was talking
3.
about 2 as a player.
Yeah,
2 as a player. So you already have that on me. And I'm not going to get one as a coach because I hate players and people, so I'm never going to coach. So I just don't have the patience for that. But I think the coolest thing was, I tell people, it's like, yo, so how was it when you saw Luke the first time? The first thing I did, I remember we were at Gumtree right there in Hermosa Beach, and he's got his son lost, and I got Little Rich, and I was like, "Hey, what's going on, champ?" And he was just like, "What's going on, champ?" Right, and that was it. Like we were gonna constantly.
You two are so cute.
Stop it.
Please stop. Please stop.
That's exactly how you just told the story. That you wanted someone to.
No, but it's respect because he knows how, one, we both lost in that national championship game, which if he didn't have brittle bones and didn't break his thumb, we would have been fine, right? And then,
Is it everyone else's fault?
Oh, no, because he did. If he would have been healthy, or Gilbert special. Yeah. Gilbert was special, but had he been healthy, he was our 6th man that year, and had he not broke his thumb, it was a close game, and I give all the credit to Duke. I hate all of them, but I give them the credit. Yeah. But
I think some of our guys in here have never heard road tripping.
Never. Oh, well, congratulations. Right? It gets better. No, so that was kind of the thing. Did I let you listen to the Gilbert thing?
You did.
Yeah. So Gilbert Arenas, this is a random second. Gilbert Arenas started a podcast. Good luck, Gil. And so one of the things he talks about, me and Luke hosting him on his visit, and
You guys hosted him?
We hosted him on his visit. Yeah. At least he says. And they were like, so the guy like that was kind of interviewing was like, well, how was Luke? Well, Luke and Richard, they were good. He's like, no, they were the worst. They kept telling me that I shouldn't come to this school, right? Because that's just kind of like, we recruited people the other way. It's like, oh, where are you going to Cal? Like, where are your other schools that you're looking at? He's like, well, I'm looking at Cal State Northridge and Kansas State. And then we were like, I think Kansas State would be a good fit for you, right?
Wait, why?
Just a challenge.
Just to challenge him.
We needed to make sure he was mentally ready.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was. Gilbert was really good.
We had a starting shooting guard, Ruben Douglas, started as a freshman, and Gilbert came out on his trip, and we're like, why? We have a starting freshman. Like, why are you coming here? And he told us in front of Ruben, he said, I kicked the shit out of Ruben in high school. I gave Ruben 45. You think I'm afraid to come here and play behind him? And we didn't know.
I knew Gilbert from like the pump camps and stuff here in LA. Like we had all kind of grew up together playing. But Gilbert showed up on campus and it was a joke. The dude murdered everyone, right? And Gilbert didn't know how good he was. Part of Gilbert's like gift and curse is that like he always played with a chip on his shoulder. But then it was like when he didn't need to play with a chip on his shoulder and just needed to be smart, he couldn't do that. He had an inability to do that. But no, and then lo and behold, Ruben transferred. Like all these guys started transferring right away because Gilbert like came in and killed.
Up next on Road Trippin'.
When he passed and all that stuff, and like, he was 300 pounds with a heart condition, a lung condition, and loved cooking barbecue. Like the man could have gone, a lot of
butter.
A lot of butter. Like look back on your life and you look at Moses, I was like, hey, do you want to come meet Big Rich? And we were like sitting in the hotel in Austin. We weren't old enough to go drink or do anything. You were like, sure. So my parents had like kind of like, they took him to go, kind of clean him up and make sure like he was cool. And we like sat across the table and like you're sitting across from the table as like with like kind of like quote unquote, not a stranger, but just someone like I hadn't seen in 10 years. And I remember Luke was like, just kind of like, what's up, Rich? And like, it was cool for like, so I saw Big Rich at 19. I didn't see him again until I was like 29, right? Because again, he still had like those issues. And at 29, he cleaned his act up and he was good at that point in time, right? Like he'd gone to rehab, cleaned himself up. Like he lived like from 29 up until just most recently, like he was good. But for him, like meeting Luke at 19, both of us at 19, and then watching like Luke go winning championships and watching Luke be a coach, like he was so proud of Luke, like Luke was one of his kids, right? And so like we would all just hang out, and like you said, Big Rich would be on the grill like constantly, anytime during the summer, because I don't cook, I refuse to cook.
Well, that was we used to like I told him like one of the things I miss most about Big Rich is every time I would turn the corner, because we play volleyball out by where Medium Rich lives.
Because there's Little
Rich too, so Medium Rich. Big Rich would be out in the front with a beer in his hand, a cigarette in his mouth, and I'm again most of the time running late. So like I just roll the window down and give him a Big Rich call out from the car, and he just starts laughing with this huge smile, and he always had like all mesh outfits on, like all one color, with like a top hat and a cigarette, and he just kind of laugh and smile, and then he, are you coming over for the barbecue later? Are you on it, Big Rich? He said, you know it. I said, I'll see you later. Then.
What's up? Player.
So yeah, Big Rich is.
No, Big Rich was great, and that was one of the cool things, man. It's like, as tragic as it was, and it was tragic and shocking. Yeah. Because like when I tell people that, people are like, oh yeah, but like Luke really knows. Like Luke knows, like, man, I remember when you saw him at 19 and then you didn't see him again until 29, but it also takes a certain kind of mindset. Like I didn't have any animosity. Like I understand people that have issues and things that they're dealing with, and like I was okay. Like mom, dad, father figure, I was playing the NBA, like I was doing my own thing. So, like when he passed and all that stuff, and like, he was 300 pounds with a heart condition, a lung condition, and loved cooking barbecue. Like the man could have gone. The man could have gone
butter.
a lot of
A
butter.
lot of butter.
Like the food, like that's why I said when I said like I posted that on Instagram, I was like, most people don't understand. Like you could only eat Big Rich's cooking like a couple of times a summer, but it was amazing, and it was like because he was a chef or whatever, and you know I know people are listening to this. So many people reached out, and so many people. Texted me, emailed me, called me, sent me messages on, like, and I didn't have any social media. Like, I had
Showed
Snapchat.
up uninvited.
Showed up, oh yeah, I had friends that showed up uninvited.
Every day?
Every day, yeah.
Every day. And it was so annoying. It was so annoying.
He would just sit there and be like, can you guys leave now?
No, one time, so like, it was Thursday. Was it Thursday? So maybe it was Thursday I think it was Thursday because it was like, they were there all day, right? They were there all day. And then I was like, all right, guys, we were watching like Family Feud or something in the house. I was like, all right, guys, I appreciate you. And then Luke was like, yo, we got a football game going. Do you want to get some action? And I was like, all right, the football game's about to start in 20 minutes, fine. And then the next thing you know, it's like we had some action. And then it goes. It was
the Cleveland Jets
game. It was a Cleveland Jets game. So I was like, look, people are not going to believe me, but Big Rich's birthday is 420. Yes, his birthday is 420. That just adds to the living legend that Big Rich is. Allie doesn't know what 420 is. It doesn't know.
Is that funny, Luke?
I don't know what it is. That's why I'm laughing.
You're
Oh,
lying.
you don't know what it is? Oh. So we bet.
You're lying.
Yeah, so we decided to bet.
Oh, you're
420.
just being a friend.
Yeah, he's being a friend. So we decided to bet 420, right? So it was like Cleveland, right? So it was Cleveland versus the Jets. Yeah. Was it the Jets?
Jets.
Yeah.
And so
Cleveland hadn't won a game in like 3 years.
They
were favored.
And they were favored.
First of all,
Was it
it was
2.5?
not 3 years.
What was it?
They won one game in the last 2.5 seasons.
Okay, well, it wasn't 3 years.
Okay, well, oh, wow. He's the person exaggerating.
Richard,
so, like,
you won a championship in this.
I love Cleveland, but I'm just saying the Browns, I didn't play for the Browns, but the Browns hadn't won a game in 2.5 years. And so, like, my friends are sitting there, and they're like, come on, like, what's the action? Like, let's get some action on this so we can sit and actually watch a Browns game. And I was like, well, I don't know. Let's bet Big Rich's birthday.
It wasn't just the Browns, though. It was Browns Jets.
It's Browns Jets.
It's not like it was Browns
Patriots
or Dallas. It was Browns Jets.
And so we were like, all right. Well, I was like, look, well, Big Rich's birthday is 420, so let's bet 420. So we bet the over. Was it the over? We bet the over.
I didn't gamble, but yeah.
Yeah. No. Somebody I know bet the over, and we bet for the Browns to cover. Yeah. Right? Browns won both. Are you kidding me, right? Like, no, we bet 420 on both.
Up next on Road Trippin'.
Channing goes out there, and AD scores like 19 straight. And he uses every move that Channing had just talked about. He uses all of them and scores on all of them. I coached Andre. We went to college together, and then I played with Sean Livingston in Cleveland and Mo Spates in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. Andre and Sean, I don't need to worry about having this conversation with because they're professional, and it doesn't matter. Like, it's going to be good either way. Channing, he gets here, and I'm like, listen, Chan, like, you're my dude, and we're really good friends, but like, it's not our relationship here on the court isn't that. This is coach-player relationship. Like, I just want to make sure we know that. Mm-hmm. And he's like, of course. Like, I'm not dumb. Like, I got you. Like, totally cool. So,
but everyone that's listening knows Channing and how this is going to end up.
So I walk in the film the next day, and I'm saying, I forget what I'm talking about. I say something about Channing, and he's like, come on, Lukey. And he calls me Lukey in front of the whole team, which is like literally my mother. Luke, yeah, that's like when my mom calls me and a couple other people. And like the day after we had the talk about like, this is a coach-player relationship, he's there calling me Lukey in front of the whole team.
Like, what did the whole team do?
They just kind of like, they had the same look I had. Like, what are you doing? Like, what? Did you just call him Lukey? You know what I mean? And I was like, oh God.
No, the first time you told me that.
I pulled Channing aside. I'm like, dude, we just talked about this. And he's like, my bad. I didn't even know I did. I won't do it again. I'm sorry. I apologize. And I'm like,
but you can't, like, that's it.
You can't be
anybody that knows Channing, because he's just kind of incapable of having that focus.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, look, just be really serious. You're right. Hey, all right, guys. Hey, Lukey Dookie. You're just like, what the?
On Channing, I got one more Channing story, then I'll let you go. So we're playing New Orleans, right?
Luke, if you would have showed up on time, we would have had
but
all
this
these.
isn't my fault. It is my fault. But listen,
It is your fault. You're the head coach.
So we're playing in New Orleans, and Channing's kind of new to the team. He's like, hey, let me add some stuff in, because I love, like, we love the players. Like, we'll ask them, what do you know about this guy? If he played with them before, just keeping them involved so they're not just sitting there like in a classroom getting bored. So Channing's like, hey, when you get to Anthony Davis, I got some good stuff. Let me talk. I said, all right.
Allie's laughing because she knows Channing.
I'm like, we got to keep this quick. It's got to be quick. And he's like, I got
there ain't
you.
nothing. Oh,
so we get there, and Miles is doing a scout, and he's like, da-da-da-da. I'm like, Miles, Channing wanted to add a couple of things. So he's got the floor, and he starts for 8 minutes going through every move Anthony Davis can do. So we can't let him go left. He wants to go left. When he pump fakes you, he's just trying to get space to shoot it. He's da-da-da-da. Like, and I'm finally like, all right, thank you. I'm like, Channing, all right, let's move on, Miles. So and Channing hadn't been playing up to this point because he was just new on the team, so he was still learning. So we're down like 15, and it's like, we need something. I'm like, Channing, get out there, go. And Channing goes out there, and AD scores like 19 straight. And he uses every move that Channing had just talked about. He uses all of them and scores on all of them. So AD finished the game with like 45, right? So last year we had like a young team, but as soon as we get back in the locker room, they're all killing. They're calling Channing small fry. And like, these are like young players, small fry. They're like, Channing, who do we play next? So the Kings, DeMarcus Cousins, or whatever, like whoever it is, like, well, just make sure you don't tell us. So like the running joke for the rest of the season was, don't let Channing talk about any of the other team's best players.
That's hilarious.
Now we can finish.
Now we can finish. All right. So I was like,
should we just end on those?
No,
probably,
get that.
yeah.
No, he's got these. He's got these, and he's got.
So
no, because what we'll do is we'll edit this, so that'll be the end, and then but these will be like extra.
So what we like to do is just rapid fire. So it's a way for our viewers, our listeners, to get to know you or our guest a little bit more. So it's really simple, really easy.
I'm not here for me. I'm here for Richard.
Yes,
but you're here for Big Rich.
You're here for Big Rich.
Yes.
Holla.
Okay, so they're really simple. They're really easy. You have to answer within like 3 seconds. Okay? They're really simple.
It's not that hard. It's not just.
All right, ready? Texting or talking?
It's tough.
Oh my God,
Who are we talking about?
You got.
I mean, who? Like,
It's just in general. Just in general. Overall.
Would you rather text or would you rather talk
to someone
on the phone?
Like a close person, I'd rather talk. To 90% of the people.
This is like Channing and
No,
Scout.
but in his defense, never ever text or call him expecting any
Touche.
type of reply.
We know that.
Never text or call him expecting
Cake or
a reply.
pie? Would you rather eat a piece of cake or a piece of pie?
Cake. Did you feel like you had to explain that to me?
Well, you just took 10 minutes to answer the text
Well,
or
the
text or
was
talk.
different.
PlayStation, would you rather play PlayStation or Xbox?
That's not even a real question. Xbox.
I just asked you.
Xbox. That's my.
Climb a mountain or jump from a plane?
Climb a mountain.
Kobe or LeBron?
That was me.
That was Richard.
Don't answer.
I'm good either way.
Don't answer.
Boring. If there is a what?
You wrote it. What are you talking about? Those are your notes. Those are your notes. Just like, wait, what?
It's the game. If
It's the
there's
game,
a
miss.
spider in your house, do you kill it or set it free?
Set it free.
Aw. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
If there's pepperoni and jalapeno next to it.
That's my guy. That's my dog.
Sour Patch Kids or Swedish Fish?
Sweetest fish.
If there's a hair in your food at a restaurant, do you return it?
No.
With the part at the end.
Halfway through?
Do I return the food? Heck
If it's
no.
halfway through.
I take the hair out and we could keep
You just keep
moving.
eating?
Keep it moving.
Cardio or weights?
Weights. Cardio is, yeah.
What's worse, laundry or dishes?
Laundry.
Hamburger or taco?
Taco.
Blinds or curtains?
What's the difference?
Joe Thomas was actually on Road Tripping, and he said it was the worst thing in the world going
Oh, they're expensive.
Curtains, yeah.
No, curtains are
Shopping
freaking
for curtains.
expensive.
Yeah, but I'd rather own curtains than blinds. Blinds, like those are like you have to like twist. That's
pancake or waffle?
You got too much money for that.
like no, but it's
Pancake or waffle?
waffle,
Salt and vinegar or sour cream and onion?
sour cream and onion.
Chargers or Rams?
Chargers.
Oh, well, there you go.
I'm a Ram guy.
See, that was easy.
All right, close us out, Allie.
We appreciate you, obviously, coming in. I appreciate you. I don't know about Richard.
No, I do appreciate him.
We wish we could have spent 35, 45 minutes.
I'm glad that I'm glad that I feel like the next guest, we're going to need 2 bottles of wine.
Yeah. To Big Rich. Let's get one last one.
Cheers to Big Rich, man.
Would you come back again?
You can pour it out on the carpet, like, pour it out for the homies.
Cheers.
Cheers.